nervous here. All right, so my presentation is going to be talking about the use of digital more in a marketing perspective. So I'm taking it a little bit out of the gallery and exhibition context to more of a marketing perspective. Okay. So the growing majority of our audiences are digital natives. They have the power to choose how they communicate and how they consume culture. They can unfollow you, they can block your ads, they can ignore you completely. So to remain relevant, museums must be able to redefine the role of passive public places to become active cultural animators who build relationships with audiences, genuinely engage, talk about things that matter, and become a part of people's lives. So last night, we saw some digital natives. This is the folk singers. You can see this crowd at the bottom. There was about 6 people, and 5 of them had their cell phones or digital devices out. So this is the kind of context that we're working in for a museum. So how do we do this at the National Gallery? We have a few interests or a few likes. We like to take care of our customers. We like building loyalty and commitment. We love turning museum goers into museum lifers, and we can do that through digital. By being as accessible as possible, where we strive to break down perceived barriers, attract new visitors, and cultivate supporters. National Gallery's online platform, social media sites offer a peek behind the scenes and access to collections and additional information, so the audiences can know before they go, or they can rate us before they donate, so they're really able to engage that way. Human factor. Loyalty and trust requires a human touch. The use of voice or brand persona, humor, thought leadership, personalized communications, and the human touch. The other thing that's really interesting right now is that boundaries between our personal lives and our work lives are really starting to blur. Our digital lives of staff members are becoming more and more important in expressing that brand and achieving authenticity. Community engagement, new platforms, of course, we've discussed this, are allowed museums to break free of our confines and engage with our communities like never before. You guys have all had some chance now to view the Speak to Me exhibition, and that was an exhibition where we were able to integrate QR codes with traditional labeling, so museum goers were able to kind of access additional information through their smartphones. There's also an installation piece which the museum goers are invited to come up and type into a digital interface, and that will kind of engage with the artwork and change the artwork on the wall. So that's kind of one of the first times we've used that kind of phygital space. So it's that merging between digital and physical spaces. So creating a seamless experience, we also like where the digital and analog is combined to take participants through the before, during, and after. And I'll touch again on this point a bit later. And finally, we need to be able to be agile and experimental with the use of digital. So I'm going to be talking about 3 different case studies: the National Gallery's new website, fundraising gala, I know we all love fundraising, and the annual MAC conference, which we're all a part of right now. So with the website, we set out with clear objectives from the onset. We wanted to offer superior user experience. We wanted it to be simple, intuitive, and we wanted to introduce features such as responsive design, access to collections, and e-commerce, so we were able to raise funds and remain sustainable. So with our likes in mind, the new website is now accessible across all platforms. So tourists, for example, if they're on the island for a limited time, they're able to hop on their mobile phones, and at the top it says, "We're open." And then following right after that, it says, "Here's a map, here's how you can get to us." So it's that really seamless experience that we were trying to build there. We saw that 40% of our audiences were accessing our old website through mobile devices, and that made us sad. So as you can see, the text is too small. It really wasn't friendly at all. So we knew we had to make a change, and we had to react fast to that. In striving to break down perceived barriers, we also implemented a 360 video. So users could know before they go. It made the gallery a little less intimidating if you've never been there before. And visitors from our outer districts, sister islands, and around the globe can now access our physical space. And the National Collection upstairs has some nice information, thanks Carrie, where users can click on the artwork and view that. And with this, I just wanted to note, we partnered with Dragonfly, so they donated the work to us. They're a real estate company that does 360 videos to promote real estate. So we were able to jump on that bandwagon and get on there. Okay, we built in the human factor by relying more on images and videos to tell a story. We also created a blog and blogged about individuals like Simon Tatum, who took part in the recent Caribbean Linked residency. And we've also invited individuals to contribute, because it's very difficult as a nonprofit to get that content out. So by inviting others to help us to contribute was really great for us. Okay, so we expect to see an increase in engagement as we've eliminated quite a few friction points. For example, sad face again, to register previously for memberships, they had to go through so many steps to get there, and that really detracted from it. So at the moment, you can choose a membership, fill out a really quick digital form, and we'll capture your money online. So that's a really great process and helping to build that engagement there. So we've designed for the recline. And in the future, we are looking at creating membership cards for our digital platforms. So some of the digital savvy people, you know, like this is Charlie, he's a little dog artist here. So we can, those tech savvy people will be able to accommodate those. Okay, so this project has been met with several challenges and delays along the way. With limited human resources as a nonprofit and financial resources, we had to change our approach and deliver the project in phases. So by the end of 2016, the entire National Gallery collection will be available online. There'll also be a digital archive set up so that viewers will be able to see past exhibitions and work, obviously with the permission of artists and other contributing galleries. They'll be able to access that and kind of peruse online after their museum experience. We're also going to set up an online store, so that will help increase the revenue streams. And additional educational activities for kids. So after their experience at the gallery, the kids might be still interested in seeing what else there is available, and we want that to be really accessible online so kids can pop on and still continue to engage with us. So now for the fundraising part of things. The National Gallery hosts a fundraising gala, and in 2014, the year of the Surrealist Ball, we realized that we needed to pick up our game. With over 200 local charities, we were, and we still are, in a very competitive fundraising environment. We needed to rethink our approach to avoid donor fatigue and truly engage our audiences. So we led the project with a really holistic marketing approach, an approach that everything matters, every little detail matters, and that the surreal experience should start from the very initial contact, so from the invitations that had to be read using a mirror, right through to the event where guests had to pluck their desserts from a surreal sculpture piece. So we wanted that, and then right through to the end where we used these images to kind of continue that surreal feeling. So digital was fully integrated into this process. And the other thing we did is that the content was driven by the theme. So for example, invitation deliveries were done in a René Magritte style. So with the green apple in tow, we also invited the surreal character to the local TV station, and that helped to kind of get across that really surreal idea that we were trying to achieve there. We also understood that audiences needed inspirational tools to really engage. So bearing this in mind, we developed a Pinterest page. So we sent this to all of the potential people who were interested in coming to the event so that they felt really comfortable with the theme. Like if somebody didn't know what surrealist meant and how could they dress up like that, they were able to pop up there and get some really great ideas. So as you can see, we also invited a local artisan to produce surreal accessories in our gift shop, and we sold that through there as well. So people could feel really engaged with that theme. So as you can see from the images, people really got engaged with that. The governor, Her Excellency Helen Kilpatrick, had a lobster fascinator on her head when she came, and guests were really moved to share their experiences. So this is one guest here who went all out and took pictures of every single setting that was there in the fundraising gala. So this undoubtedly raised the profile of the National Gallery and instilled a sense of community. Here's another screenshot that just shows the kind of engagement. We were able to meet our fundraising targets, increase engagement on our social media platforms through this, solidify a core following of individuals who will support National Gallery in the future, and raised significant awareness of what the National Gallery does, as it was the fundraising gala. So on a side note, we were able to extend the life of this event. So I was able to write a piece for the Arts Marketing Association in the UK, which was great. And we also won the SIMPA Award, the Local Marketing Award for Marketing on a Small Budget. Yay. Okay, now it's your turn. So, hold on. Okay, so if we go back to our likes for a moment, just as a reminder, we are, fingers crossed, using the same approach and building your loyalty to stay connected, and hopefully we'll stay connected through social media. We have made our physical spaces available. The conference team, gallery staff, and gallery volunteers have been working really hard to be accessible as possible as well themselves. And all of the conference materials are available online, and we'll post these presentations later on our website. So that's kind of that integrated approach where we're working together with this digital. We've used the human factor with a few cocktails and blog posts. And this is, again, you guys out there. Carrie, one of our staff members, you can see that kind of staff interaction, posting these photos. There you are. So that's the human factor there, everybody enjoying themselves. And this is a high five from yesterday. Yeah, I liked that one. And finally, we've used this conference to experiment with digital. We've been able to live stream, and we've also tried this live tweeting screen over here as well. So that's new experimental ways that we've started to engage. And it didn't come with some hiccups. This is the live stream. Councillor McTaggart was on his side for a little bit, and we were like, oh shoot, ran up, changed that around. So it does come with some hiccups, but we were able to take that chance and go for it there. So, towards the end, all right. How do we remain relevant and essential in an increasing digital world? By striving to animate our collections and programmings. Like I talk about these digital spaces, digital meets physical, because we have to be accessible to all audiences, not just the ones on their cell phones. And by being as responsive as possible. By building relationships with our audiences, by being human and genuine, by highlighting things that matter and matter to us as well as our audiences, and finally, by spending some time with our data and knowing our audiences, so becoming a part of their lives. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Kaitlyn. It's interesting. I really love this. It's interesting because we often just want to make sure that we have the website up and we have the Twitter feed up. We have a handle for Twitter and Instagram and all this other digital media. But then, somewhere, somehow, we just like to have them up and people are interacting, but then we don't go back to check how well it's working until somebody says, I can't. Then, you have to go through and revamp all the time, even when people are on their sides. Are there any questions? I'm sure you're burning to ask Kaitlyn some questions from her presentation.
Just a quick congratulations, and I'd love you to do the ministry's website. Are you from the gallery?
Kaitlyn, come over here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it was a really interesting process to kind of figure out how are we going to make that work on such a small budget, right? So how are we going to fit all the pieces together? And also with a limited staff, we wanted the back end of the website to be as user-friendly as possible, because it's just, we want to be able to share that workload amongst our volunteers.
I just want to thank Kaitlyn for an awesome presentation. It's great to be able to sit back. I think we do this as a team every now and again and go, wow, that's really cool. You don't often give yourself time to kind of reflect on some of the projects that you've done. But something you touched on, and I think this is a shift, isn't it, in kind of how we've been doing this recently, is that Kaitlyn is the head of the communications department. She does an awesome job. She's also responsible for volunteers and membership. And it's an enormous department. So looking at ways that every single staff member can contribute to the marketing of the gallery under her direction. And that really has made a big shift. Our assistant curators are out there tweeting and Snapchatting and Instagramming. And again, I think one of the things that really resonated is what's important to you, what's important to us, and what story you want to share. And she does an amazing job, and I think that shows. And thank you so much for a great presentation.
Thanks.
Kaitlyn, just very quickly, let me ask you a question. In terms of time, because usually this is the issue with trying to get your digital and mobile things up and running, people complain about time. Can you just give us an idea of how time-consuming just getting all of this? No, so we have an idea. I mean, lots of times people tell us, oh, this takes too long, but really, in reality, what?
In reality, this project was delayed and delayed and delayed until finally I'm like, nope, you gotta get it done. Putting my headphones on, right? But the thing with this is that we realized quite early on that we're gonna have to deliver it in phases. We're gonna have to cut out the shop. We're gonna have to do all these different things and then build it slowly so I can take chunk by chunk and then get there eventually. Yeah.
I'm here, and then
Thank you for that.
from Amanda over here.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
It might be Natalie having to
presentation.
ask,
It
but it
was-
might be Kaitlyn. The fundraising gala, so the few times, I haven't done one, I've avoided it.
Yeah.
Because, again, the idea of the privilege, right? And the few small things I've done, when there have been pictures posted online, the negative backlash of like, how, it's just full of white people and everyone's just spending a lot of money and, whatever has been really quite impactful. How do you deal with that? Or have you found that to be a problem? Or how do you balance that out in your community? Because that, for me, is one of the big scary things about doing a fundraiser like that. So I do a different kind of fundraising, a very quiet.
So what we do is we're blessed in Cayman. We have a very diverse audience already. So some of the PR side of things is that I'll choose the images that go to press are the ones that are of mixed audiences. And then obviously having that really social engagement helped to get that younger audience through as well. So, Natalie.
Well said. And again, most of those fundraising galas, all walks of life in Cayman now, but that's taken a long time to build that loyalty.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's telling the story of why you're fundraising. So if we're doing follow-up marketing on any of our fundraising events, which obviously it's more of a social divide for those fundraising events, then we'll say, that the press will be, this is where the funds are going to. It's not just pictures of the event itself. And we make sure that reason is always out at the forefront. But we have to do this, ultimately. We have $500,000 to raise every year. And the fundraising gala, I want to give a big shout out to our events team who are behind me. They coordinate this every year. We do it as a team effort. And shameless plug, but November 25th, if you're in the Cayman Islands and you want to come join us, we're doing, Club Havana is the formal name. It's 1940s Havana and Tropicana nights, so it's going to be a pretty sexy event. But yeah, we have to do it, but we always tell the story about why we're doing these fundraising and where the money's going to.
Yeah, and I forgot to add, we did an advocacy campaign on the radio as well. So we had ads that were kind of aimed at more why we're fundraising. This is all the things that we need to do. Oh, and by the way, there's a gala happening. So it kind of tied the whole program in as well.
All right, so we'll take one last question from Joanna. Oh, all right, go ahead, Joanna.
Hi. I wanted to ask about your metrics for success. And I think you talked about how you're evaluating. Is it you track followers or clicks?
We track follows. Obviously, there's a lot of free stuff that we do through our social media sites. So there's a lot of information there on graphs. We also track the number of times we're mentioned in the press. But most of that we've done just organically because there's not really a budget to do that. So I've kind of just been tracking it myself. Yeah.
Okay. Charlotte, if it's a short question, we'll take it.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering, do you teach like in the after school programs and whatnot, have you taught the kids at all like how to make their own little like artist website, or is that a thing like maybe planned in the future?
Yeah, I think Natalie mentioned we're going to do some more courses for artists to help build their social presence as well and their websites. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.